Okay, so yesterday we focused on decimals to the hundredths. Okay, looking at this picture on the left, what fraction is represented? This is what we did yesterday. What fraction is represented by this model right here? Okay, so it's out of hundreds, so I know the denominator is going to be 100, and it's going to be 10 over 100, because 10 squares are shaded out of 100 total. What does that decimal look like, Jason? 0.10. We read both of those as 10 hundredths. Everybody say 10 hundredths.
10 hundredths.
That's how you read those. Okay, the next one. What does my fraction look like? What does my fraction look like, Fala?
100.
1 over 100. And she read it correctly, 1/100th. The decimal, 0.1.
No, 0.0.
Ooh, very good, 0.01. Good. Okay. If you divided a square into 1,000 equal parts, then what name would you give for one of those parts? One of those parts would be 1/1000th. The decimal would be 0.001. 10 of those 1,000 parts would be 10 over 1,000. But what would go here? How would I show 10 thousandths? Close. What do you think, Caden?
0.010.
Yes. 0.010. That's 10 thousandths. Okay, now what if I had 100 of the parts? It would be 100 over 1,000. But what does that decimal look like? Bo.
Would it look like 0 decimal 0? No, wait, not that 0. 0 decimal, and then would it be 100?
That's exactly right. So you read both of those 100 thousandths. So wherever the last digit ends up, whatever place the last digit in your number ends up, that's what you read it as. This says 100. The last digit is in the thousandths place, so I read it as 100 thousandths. This one, I would read the number as 10. Last digit's in the thousandths. Thousandths, so 10 thousandths. Does that make sense so far? Okay. So we still have similar place value charts. I'm just adding that third place. Okay, in a decimal, the third place to the right of the decimal point is what we call the thousandths place. You can write thousandths as fractions or decimals. So what it's showing is that in a hundredths grid, which is what we worked with yesterday, each one of those squares would be broken up into tenths. And one of those little tiny pieces is equal to 1,000th. Do y'all see that visual right up here? Okay. All right, so we have a couple of examples given to us. We can see that 5 thousandths can be written as 0.005. It can also be 5 over 1,000. They are equivalent. You read them both the exact same way, 5 thousandths. The example over here to the right, 555 thousandths, can also be written as 0.555. Again, I read the number 555, the last digit's in the thousandths place, so 555 thousandths. All right, let's practice writing these as a fraction for 1 through 3. What would my fractions look like for number 1? 9 over what? 1,000. Number 2 would be 63 over 1,000. And then number 3 would be 194 over 1,000. Go ahead and do 4, 5, and 6, and then we'll check those. For number 4, what'd you put?
I put 645 over 1,000.
Yep, 645 over 1,000. You want to do number 5? Fala?
2 over 1,000.
Yeah, 2 over 1,000. Hurry. We're in the middle of a lesson. Judah? 98 over 1,000. Perfect. Okay. Now the next time we're writing all of these fractions as a decimal. So this is where it can get tricky. Ace, what's number 7? Oh.
6. Wouldn't that be 90 over 100?
Ooh, it is over 100. Sorry. I overlooked that. Thank you. Okay. Ace, what's number 7?
0.003.
Yep. Number 8? Fala?
0.091.
Yes, 0.091. Claire, what would number 9 be?
0.607.
Okay, let's go back and read each one of those. Number 7, how do you say that, everybody?
0.003.
How do you read it? How do we read it? What?
3,000.
3 thousandths. Everybody say it. 3 thousandths. How do you read number 8?
91,000.
Everybody say it.
91,000.
What about number 9?
607,000.
Very good. Okay, number 10, 11, and 12, try those on your own, and then we'll check them. If you already did them, just hang tight for like 10 seconds. Okay, here's number 10. Here's number 11. And here's number 12. All right. I want you to read those numbers to somebody at your table. All 3 of them, starting with number 10. Y'all take turns. Ready? Go. All right, everybody say number 10. How do you read number 10?
3,000.
Number 10, 84 thousandths. Read number 11, 8 thousandths. Number 12, 3 thousandths. We don't read our numbers 0.00 or anything like that. We read them a certain way. We would read them the exact same way that we would read the fraction, okay? All right, next. Write the phrase as a fraction and a decimal. So we are given 4 thousandths because that's how we read it. So as a fraction, what does that look like? 4 over 1,000. How does 4 thousandths look as a decimal?
0.004.
Exactly, 0.004. But we read both of those 4 thousandths. Okay, go ahead and do number 14 on your own. I am writing 756 thousandths as a fraction and then as a decimal. So the fraction should be 756 over 1,000. The decimal is 0.756. Okay, number 15, we're shading each square to show the value of 7 and the number 777 thousandths. How do I read this number again?
777,000.
Very good. And we're going to compare the values of the sevens. Okay, what is that going to look like? What will will that look like? We're going to shade each square to show the value of each 7. So how many 7s do I have in the tenths, or how many do I have in the tenths place? 7. I have 7 in the tenths place. So I'm going to shade 7 tenths. Okay, how many do I shade in the hundredths? What digit is in the hundredths place? 7 again. And how many do I shade in the thousandths? 7 again. That one's teeny tiny. It's so tiny, it's hard to see. You can see my 7 shaded right over here, 7 thousandths. Okay. All right, the next part, you're matching the fraction with the decimal that has the same value. Notice we have some that are written to the hundredths. Some are written to the thousandths. So pay close attention. Make sure you drew a line to the correct match. There what? Oh, there is. Whoops. I missed something. Oh, it says compare the values of the 7s. Okay, so what we're going to do to compare on number 15, I missed that blue box. Thank you. To compare the 7s and number 15, we got to go back up a little bit. This one here is representing 7 tenths, which is greater than 7 hundredths, which is greater than what? How do I read that number? 7 thousandths. 7 tenths is greater than 7 hundredths. 7 hundredths is greater than 7 thousandths. Thanks for pointing that out so that I didn't skip it. Okay, now we're at the matching. Anybody need time to figure that out, or has everybody already done the matching? Okay. 66 hundredths looks like which one, the red flower or the orange flower? Orange. 66 thousandths is the red flower. 6 thousandths, is it green or blue?
Green. Blue.
Blue. 6 thousandths matches the blue flower, but 6 hundredths matches the green flower. So make sure your lines are like my lines. Okay, there are only 3 different numbers shown. What are the numbers? And then write the numbers in word form. So there's 3 different numbers that are shown. What are they?
4.
And then write the numbers in word form. I see 4 tenths. And do I see any more 4 tenths? 4 tenths here.
Yeah.
Okay. What else do I see?
4,000. 400. 4,000.
I see 4 hundredths here. Oh, I need to use a different color. 4 hundredths here. 4 hundredths here. What else do I see?
40 hundredths.
I see. Did you say 4 thousandths?
Yes.
4 thousandths and 4 thousandths. Okay. But I have some that aren't circled. Why do you think? Well, do they though? Think about how much they're worth. The value of it. Jeb, what do you notice?
40 over 100 has the same value of 40 over 1,000. It's still 40. It's just that the denominator is different.
So if I were to get rid of these 2 zeros, this is actually the same as 4 tenths. Do you see that? It's equal to 4 tenths. And he also pointed out 40 thousandths. If I get rid of these two zeros, it's also equal to 4 tenths. What about this one, though, on the purple balloon? What is this one equal to?
4 hundredths.
4 hundredths. Okay, so now we know my three different numbers. My three different numbers that I'm going to write are 4 tenths, because I'm writing it in word form. I have 4 tenths. I have 4 hundredths. And then the last one that I would write is 4 what? Thousandths. Okay, we only have one last thing to do, and then you have the rest of the class to work on your practices. In rotation 2. Okay, we have a completed example. It says 1,000 strides is going to be equal to a mile. On a walk down Main Street, you took 960 steps, so a little less than a mile. What fraction of a mile did you walk? That should be 960 out of... Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. So it says 1,000 strides equal to 1 mile, but it's showing us a visual over here, okay? Look at my stride versus a step. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
My stride is like almost twice as long as just a step. So it says on a walk down Main Street, you took 960 steps. What fraction of a mile did you walk? So it's telling you, think about this. There are 2 steps and a stride. So to find the number of strides, you're going to divide the number of steps by 2. So I'm going to take 960 and I'm going to divide it by 2. So that's going to be equal to 480 strides. It's kind of like whenever you do inches and feet, you have to convert feet to inches sometimes. So it's kind of like that, strides and steps. So what you're actually walking is 480 hundredths of a mile, because I'm answering that question in strides. Okay, so let's look at number 18. It says, your tracking app counted your steps as you walked to school. You took 1,200 steps. What fraction of a mile is your walk to school? So how would I solve this one? Anybody have an idea of what I would do? It's kind of similar. What could I do? Jack, what do you think I would do? By, what did we just divide by? 2, because we know that 2 steps is equal to 1 stride, right? So I would do 1,200 divided by 2. I know 2 can't go into 1, but it can go into 12 6 times. And then 2 goes into 0 0 times, and 2 goes into 0 times. So what did I end up with? I ended up with 600, but 600 out of what? 600 thousandths. On your walk home, you stopped by a friend's home before going to your home. You took 2,500 steps going home. Did you walk more than a mile?
Yes.
Why yes? You can all tell me. Because how many steps is equal to a mile?
1,000.
Okay. 1,000? Steps or strides? Strides. So steps would be how many steps? 2,000. You're doubling it. Okay. So if you take 2,500 steps, is that going to be more than a mile? Yes. Okay. Yes, because 2,000, and you don't have to write this, I'm just explaining. 2,000 steps is equal to 1 mile. Okay. Last one, you're driving from Chicago to Denver, which is a distance of 1,000 miles. On the first day, you drove 372. On the second, you drove 358. What fraction of the total distance have you driven? What do I need to do to solve this problem first? Jason, what's step one? Okay, so let's go ahead and do that then. 372 plus 358. Okay, so what does 730 represent?
What did you say?
What does 730, what does that represent? When I add those two distances together, what is it representing? Yes.
The mileage.
The mileage of what?
The 2 days that you've been driving.
That I've already driven, okay? So it wants me now to write the fraction of the total distance. Okay, what's the total distance? 1,000. So I'm gonna write it, because it says fraction, 730 over 1,000. What if it said, what fraction do I have left? What would I have to do? You would have to subtract 730 from 1,000. Okay, today